Hello and welcome back to Saul's Shed. It's been a while since I posted a video, but I thought I'd better do a follow-up on a video I did in May 2016 about my small bandsaws. In the original video, I ended up buying this bandsaw. I bought another second-hand that was sent back. And I was given this bandsaw. Well, 18 months on, I just thought I'd give you a progress update and a little bit of a review of this one, because I'm quite pleased with this one after all the time. Well, to deal with this one first, this is one that my friend gave me, and I'm very grateful for him for that. I mean, it's a good little saw, but I hit a problem with it, which I'll show you in a second. I think I may be able to fix it with a new bearing, but we shall see. When I originally got it, it never had a fence, so I consequently made myself a fence, which seems to work okay. But the problem with this one, and I think it's common with many three-wheel bandsaws, but I'm happy to be put right if I'm wrong in that, is the top bearing. Hang on, let's get back so you can see the wheels. It's a three-wheeler. The top bearing on this one has got a hell of a lot of play in it. There we go. I mean, I'll do it up finger tight, but it shouldn't move at all like this, because the actual pitch adjustment is locked on, so this shouldn't move at all. So consequently, it's nigh on impossible to get the blade to track properly. I'll take it off, and inside there, I think you can see there's a needle roller bearing. Well, if I put the pin in, this is the pin that tightens up against the body of the bandsaw. It's quite tricky one-handed, but if you can see that, doesn't look a great deal of play, but I suppose once it's amplified out to the edge of the wheel, it's quite a lot. So and consequently, it's nigh on impossible to track a blade. So this one needs a little bit of TLC. I'm hoping I can fix it, because I really like using it. It's a cracking little saw. Does a good job. It's got a 12-inch throat, so it'll take slightly bigger things than the other one. But apart from that, I couldn't fault it. I mean, it's built like a tank, apart from that one bearing. So I'm going to cruise eBay. I'll take some measurements. I'll cruise eBay, see if I can find one to fit in there. We'll give it a go anyway. It's going to be worth a shot for a cheapy bearing. So we'll move on. So this is the Guild bandsaw that I bought. I think it's a 200mm cut, which is 8 inches, or is it 6 inches? I don't know. Might be a 300mm cut. But I think the throat depth is 8 inches. And to be honest, I'm quite chuffed with it. It's been a little cracker to use. The only fault I found with it when I first bought it was it had a terrible guide. Fence, sorry. Now, where on earth have I put the fence? I'll slowly have a mooch around my shed to see if I can find where I've put the fence to show you. There we go. Nowhere to be seen. Well prepared. No, not in there. Well, anyway, take my word for it. The fence that came with it originally wasn't very good at all. And I moaned about it a bit at the time. In the meantime, I managed to cope, and I was clamping on either end and stuff, and it was working all right. You know, it was usable. In the meantime, a friend put me on to the Axminster website, and I've got nothing to do with them, and I'm not trying to sell you anything, but they do this fence upgrade for small bandsaws, and I can imagine it'd work on many small bandsaws. And the joy of it was only £12.50 when I bought it. I've looked on the website and it's gone up to £13.50, but for that, it's a bargain, absolute bargain. I mean, the fence is a lot stronger, a lot squarer. It doesn't deflect. It's really nice, and it's quite accurate. Once it's set up, I'll take the thing off. I mean, that's the bar and the clamp and everything, which works rather well. And this jandling you have to attach to the table. Well, on this saw, I just had to drill 4 holes through the table and mount it to that. And I mean, I was very careful when I did it and got everything nice and square. And it's a peach, an absolute peach. And for £12.50, I'm amazed they can do it for that. But anyway, back to the point of the bandsaw. I've used it for, it's now January 2018. So I've used it for, I don't know, 18, 19 months. And I haven't had much trouble with it. I was just about to say I haven't had a minute's worry with it, but I have had a couple of little things. Nothing massive, and nothing that wasn't overcomeable. But to be honest, it's been very reliable. I've had no problems with the motor or anything. I've had to replace a couple blades, and One was definitely my fault, and the other was the fact there was a cheap Chinese blade that came with it, and it was just rubbish. But anyway, I've got a couple of decent blades for it now, and it works fine. Now, what I was going to say is the one problem I did have with it, and I'll spin it around on the back here. There we go. I'm turning it around by the light so you can see what's going on. And there's the plate for it, just in case somebody really wanted to know that. But the problem I had was the up and down guide for the top bearing, top blade guide here. Well, it's nice and loose now because I've cleaned it out. But it is prone to getting full of dust inside. And if I roll it down a little bit, you can see that there's plastic teeth there. And there's a plastic cog inside, which does the adjustment up and down. Well, when that gets full of dust, it just locks up solid. Now, I didn't realise that was a thing until I went to turn the knob one day, and it was a bit stiff, and I thought, well, I'll turn it a little bit harder. And being club-handed like I am, I managed to break the knob, which, to be fair, wasn't too bad to repair. I mean, all it took was a Jubilee clip around the piece that was cracked, and fixed it fine, so it wasn't a problem. So consequently, I thought, well, I'm going to have to take this to pieces, see if I can do something about it at the time when I broke it. And when I got inside, I found out that the guide is prone to filling up with sawdust. Now, I think I fixed the problem, because if hang on, let's get the light right so you can see what I'm talking about. If you can look inside of there, you can see there's a screw plate. Well, at the back of that screw plate, there was a gap, and that was letting the dust in. The dust was settling in there and jamming the whole business up. So what I've done, and hopefully it's going to carry on working, it seems to be okay at the moment, is I just cut a little piece out of a Coke can and sandwiched it between that plate and the rest of the extrusion for the blade guide. It seems to have fixed the problem. Not a big deal, but obviously this is not a major quality machine. It cost me $79.99, and I believe I've got my money's worth. It's quite a good little thing, and it does the bits and bobs I want. So, really, as a follow-up to the 3 Bandsaws, which is now 2, I bought this one like 18, 19 months ago, I suppose, and I haven't had much problems with it. It's been a joy to use, really, and especially now I've sorted out the problems with the fence and the guide getting gummed up. Now I've done that, it is an absolute pleasure to use. So would I buy one again? I probably would, to be fair. I mean, I don't know if I'd necessarily buy a Guild one. There seems to be loads of Bandsaws on the market at the sort of like the 80 to 100 quid price point, and they all look pretty much the same, to be honest. Perhaps I might buy one from Screwfix next time, because I live close to a Screwfix, and if there's a problem I could just take it back and get another. But to be honest, this one came from eBay, and at the time, for $79.99, it was cheap, and I'm quite a frugal chap, and it's done everything I wanted it to. Obviously I made it a little base and whatever to keep it secure, and also because my shed's quite narrow, it's handy to be able to wheel it back out the way. I mean, I can pull that one out, or my table saw, or contractor saw, or my lathe. I could just pull them out and use them, then push them back out the way. That's the general setup of things. I'm meaning to put some more of my power tools on trolleys, so I can make a bit of room up and just pull them out when I need them. I've got a mortiser over there. I want to do that so I can use it more. And I've got a planer over there under my lathe. But those will be the subject of other videos. So, to wrap up, it's just a little bit of an update on my bandsaws. I'm pleased with both of them. The Clarke needs a bit of fixing. That one's working fine now. So, that's all from Saul Shed for now. I will put a little video at the end showing in a bit more detail where the inside of the guide on the Guild bandsaw got jammed up, so you can see what the problem is and perhaps avoid it yourself if you have a similar bandsaw. Right, so that's it. Cheers and gone. I hope to see you in the next video. Right, this is the bit I was talking about earlier in the video. The one where I managed to break the adjustment knob on the back. I'll show you that. But what happens is, sawdust gets into the teeth, as I'm sure you can see there, and stops you being able to adjust the blade guide up and down. Now, the first time this happened, I didn't know that this happened, and I just thought the blade guide was different. I kept turning the knob until I managed to split it. Luckily, it was a simple repair with a Jubilee clip, but I'd rather have discovered this rather than having to repair it. So just in case you've got one of these bandsaws, I suggest if the blade guide adjustment gets very tight, just take it to pieces and clean out this track and it'll be fine again. Right. Right, as I'm now reassembling the blade guide, the top blade guide, I'm just noticing where I think the dust is actually getting in that blocks up the channel that I showed you earlier. You can see there's a little metal flap on the top which is supposed to stop the dust going in, but there's a good couple of mil gap between that and the slide itself. I'm just now going to take it off and see if I can get it to sit a bit closer to that slide. I'll let you know about the results.
I've become much more spontaneous.
I've made a little wiper out of the side of a drinks can. I'm going to put that on with the hope that that might cure the problem for me.